My name is Adam from Startup Network Europe, and very happy to welcome you all here today. We have already done a couple of events, the European AI Conference 2022, that was a webinar, AI Summit 2022 in Munich with Intel Ignite and Transatlantic AI Exchange. Last year, this year, today, we're doing the European AI Conference 2023. And next year, we are planning a full-day European AI conference in Google EMEA headquarters. The dream is to get 220 AI startups and 100 AI investors. It will be the best, not the best AI event in the world, but the best AI startup event in the world. We're also planning a London AI conference in IBM in early May. So AI, we first had the agricultural revolution, then the industrial revolution, then the internet revolution, and now we have the AI revolution. That's how big of a deal AI is, in my opinion. Bill Gates says it, Elon Musk says it, people with more experience than me. So we are just at the beginning, and I really think from everything I read, AI will not replace people, but people who learn how to use AI will replace people who don't learn how to use AI. So it's very important to keep informed. This is a really exciting age of humanity, which is a really big thing to say. Now, today, we'll have a quick intro from Cara, our sponsor from HubSpot.
Thanks very much, Adam. I've actually known Adams for about 10 years, and we've done about 13 events together this year in all these fields. So first and foremost, a very welcome everybody to HubSpot, a very warm welcome, and thank you for your time. And we would say today, let's try to learn a lot. Anything that's relevant, take it with you. Anything that's not, leave it here. And we invite everybody for some food and a drink afterwards. And yeah, welcome and enjoy the event. Thanks.
Thank you. And today we have Amy from Zoom as a speaker. We have Prag, he will come a little later. He's the Global Head of Artificial Intelligence at Citi. We have Andreea from iCIMS, Ronan from IBM Ireland, Nicole from Biologit, and Fergal from Intercom, a very famous Irish company. So then we will also have online speakers. We'll have Nicolas joining from France. He's the Chief AI Officer at Onepoint, which is a huge company over in France, and also Gleb, founder and CEO of Hints. And then Amy will give a 20-minute talk on AI beyond, oh, my Zoom thing, the bar. Okay, AI beyond the buzzword. And then we will have a breakout room about AI and customer experience. So that'll be very, very cool. And that will be with Billy Emerson from Zoom and Laura Ball from Zoom. So that's it. Guys, thank you very much. Let's get this started. Thanks. So my first speaker is Amy. I did know that. And Amy, I don't know your question, but you are the Head of Global Contact Center Solution Engineering at Zoom, a unified communications and collaborations platform. I think people know that. Yes. No. But I'll ask you, I think you're on now. So my question for you is, many people say that AI is the biggest thing since the internet, including me. And Zoom has a new and really eye-catching feature called AI Companion. Has anyone used it? AI Companion from Zoom, really cool feature, which summarizes meetings. So can you please give examples of your favorite AI tools, not just from Zoom, but from other companies?
This is a hard one, right? Because there's so many great AI tools that are coming out across the industry, across verticals, across use cases. But I must say I'm very excited about Zoom's AI Companion solution. And the reason I'm most excited about it, so it does work for meetings, but it actually works across. So we're bringing AI to all corners of the Zoom platform, all the things we do, from phone to contact center to events to meetings to email to calendar to docs. There's so much that Zoom does, and we're spaces within the Zoom portfolio, but we're doing it free of charge. For anyone who's paying for a Zoom license across any of those products, you get these AI capabilities just because you have a license. So we're really fun, which really, really excites me, because I think that's the way we find the value of AI, right? We experiment, we try, we see what works, we see what helps, and then we get massive adoption from it. So one of the features I love is really called meeting. You've all maybe put your hand up, or if you're online, give me a thumbs up if you've ever watched a Zoom meeting recording. Yeah, okay. Great tool in concept, right? You have a meeting that you miss and the team records the meeting for you so you can watch it afterwards. But what happens when you have 5 one-hour meetings that you've missed from a day off at work? When do you find those 5 hours to go and watch those meetings back? It's incredibly difficult to find time, right? So with our AI companion meeting summaries, not only do we break things down in text by chapter and summarize everything that happened at a higher level, so you can read through in a few minutes and really capture all of the things that happened in that meeting, but we now have completely searchable transcripts too. So if you want to just look for the place where your name was mentioned or a certain topic that you care about within the meeting was covered, you can zoom right to that chapter within the meeting. Saves a ton of time and helps me catch up when I'm at events like this and I might miss meetings that I need to be relevant upon.
Yeah, thank you very much. And on Zoom right now, I'm actually doing a poll. So hello, camera. And we're asking where everyone is from. So right now we have 407 people connected. You're all very welcome. And I can show you where everyone is from. So Ireland, 25% of online attendees, UK 8%, Germany 9%, and then a lot of other countries, 5%, 7%. So you're all very, very welcome. So Andreea, we'll go next to you. So you are the VP of Product Strategy at iCIMS. I think you pronounce it another way. iCIMS, okay. So it's a talent cloud company empowering organizations to attract, engage, hire, and advance the right talent. And my question for you is, many attendees of these events are CEOs, company founders, CEOs? Okay, quite a few people. So my question for you is, from your point of view, how might AI reshape the global workforce in the near and distant future? And how can companies prepare for that? It works? Cool.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Hello, everyone, and the 407 plus minutes people online. Thanks for having us here. It's very annoying to hear myself. No,
it sounds
okay.
fine though for everybody else, I think.
Oh my God. Okay. So because it's a startup event, this is annoying. I just need to say that I was a founder. I co-founded and led as the CEO a data science company, and then iCIMS acquired us back in 2020. And now we build AI across the full talent cloud, and we build for it's talent acquisition software. We're used by companies like Microsoft, IBM, and yada yada, based in the States, but we build all the AI from here, from Dublin, and this is where we're investing in our AI. To go back to the question, a really good one, like how will workforces, be affected by AI and how should companies prepare for it? I give you a little bit of insight into what we're doing. So I am chairing a Gen AI committee in iCIMS. We're owned by private equity firms. We raised 1.1 billion last year. And if you know PE companies, they care about how their portfolio companies perform, 2-3 years after the acquisition. So we were asked to look at not just from a product perspective, I work in product, but not just from a product perspective, look across the entire org and see how the COOs org, the CFOs org, the CPOs org, and so on would be affected. What are the risks and opportunities for this technology to bring efficiency, automation through tools, and so on. So there is that. That, of course, affects the workforce that you have. As a startup founder, I know that without people, you have about zero. An idea and you struggling somewhere in the corner. So I hope we know that we are in a bubble. We're techie, but there is a need for digital literacy. I think with all this AI and all of this kind of stuff emerging, and I work in the field and all that, we will see a need for constant skilling and upskilling and reskilling. Creativity is going to be an important thing. Critical, the ability to critically assess things is going to be very important, not just from an AI perspective, but from, you know, whatever society is coming from and is headed in the next few years. Ethics and compliance, huge. Like in our space, we're seen as high risk. So TA, what kind of technologies are seen as high risk? And if you think of, I don't often like to talk about what our company is doing, but more how it affects the world we operate in. Every company is an employer. So this risk that, you know, the product that I'm building is transferred to all the employers. So we need to be able to make sure that these AI and automations tools that we build or we offer to our employees are non-biased. So there's a lot of work that my team does within bias and fairness. So that is, you know, obviously pretty big. And then obviously there's big societal changes. So as companies, I think we should think of how we can affect maybe education or welfare, not just employee welfare, depending on where we operate geographically and so on. Anyway, I can say more things, but I'll stop.
No, brilliant. And thank you, because it's very, very hard to say all that in only 3 or 4 minutes. Easy to say it in 20 minutes. So thank you. And for everyone attending online, I'll just see who's a CEO, who's a product person, a tech person, and I have other questions. So I guess next up we have, I know your name, of course, Ronan. I'm still looking. Ronan, you are the CTO of IBM Technology Ireland. And question for you, many attendees of this conference are AI startups. So can you give a story about IBM and the most interesting use case of AI?
Okay. Yep, I can. But before I do that, I thought what I might do is just quickly say, right, so IBM, the large multinational, I guess, on the panel, very much does work with startup organizations. And in my role as the CTO for the IBM technology business, it is weird hearing yourself. As the IBM technology business, I work with clients, large and small, day in, day out, right, to demystify some of the use cases that are applicable when it comes to the adoption of AI. And what I thought I'd do first is maybe talk about some of the larger use cases that our clients want to talk about with us when it comes to embracing Gen AI in particular. The first is actually in the HR space, right? And very much that being a labor-intense, very human-oriented experience that can be quite costly to stand up and to be able to serve within an organization. And actually the opportunity there for AI is through, you know, the automation of repetitive tasks that the human would otherwise need to undertake, the freeing up of the human to engage in the more high value, complex cases, HR queries that are coming in, and AI really having, an opportunity to transform the HR function in an organization. When it comes to the favorites, that may well be it, but we'll come to that in a moment, right? Another use case that I see as being quite prevalent when it comes to the adoption of AI is customer service. And I think there may be more of that coming on the panel here too, and some that's come already, right? So again, that function being one that's very heavy in terms of labor intensity, AI having the opportunity to field many of the queries that come into customer service departments through conversational AI, augmented with generative AI, and really bringing a customer experience that, you know, a human that's costly in a data center otherwise maybe couldn't deliver 24/7 in the way that AI could. The third use case that I think may be relevant, interesting, and one that I hear a lot from clients when they're talking to us about AI is application modernization. And maybe from an IBM perspective, if you think of our heritage, some of the applications that we had in the market for many years, we talked about those over a chat earlier, but many of the platforms that we have at play at the moment, right, that need to be modernized, and the capabilities of Gen AI to create new code, to document existing legacy code, to be able to transform code to newer programming languages that facilitates those newer applications that can replace the monoliths, right? So 3 use cases there: HR, customer service, and application modernization. And then when it comes to the favorite, I mean, we as IBM have our own story around the transformation of our HR department, right? So an organization, 300,000 employees worldwide, 120 odd countries that we operate in. Think of the HR function that we need to have in order to field and support the employees that work in IBM worldwide. So we've, over the last 5 years or so, undergone a transformation to embrace AI, starting with the conversational AI solutions, the virtual assistants, fielding the frequently asked questions, extending that to be able to search, HR policies and documents across the organization, extending that further with intelligent automation that can interact with HR management systems, automating the processes that, again, would otherwise need a HR member of staff to invoke, to manage, to monitor, and all of that now is a seamless experience. So in terms of the favorite, it's probably HR, but those other two, customer service and app modernization, are close seconds.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. And I have good news. We have nearly 500 people connected now from all across Europe. So really happy with the turnout. So much interest in AI. Nicole, you are next. You are the CEO of biologit, which is an AI-enabled scientific literature monitoring tool for pharmacovigilance, materiovigilance, cosmetovigilance, and nutrovigilance. Okay. So my question for you is, you're obviously in a very regulated industry. So what opportunities and challenges are present for companies like yours in very highly regulated industries?
Thank you. Thanks so much. And thanks for the invitation to be here. And my first question to everyone here is, do they know what pharmacovigilance is? Have you ever had an adverse event caused by a drug? Never.
Legal or illegal?
No, normal drugs, like any drug. Normal drugs, yes. Pharmaceutical drugs, let's put it that way. Have you reported it? Yes. So you see, the problem we have with pharmacovigilance is that there's an underreporting of adverse events. So we take drugs every day, but we don't report them. So for pharma companies to know how the drugs are being used and what are the types of adverse events that people taking the drugs are having, it's very hard. One of the ways is to monitor everything that gets published, scientific literature coming from conferences, from events, from articles, preprints, and so on. And the pharma companies also are going to look at the data that is being reported directly to them. So what do? We have AI, which is not generative AI. We are not fancy, so we don't use LLMs and all of that because we are in a highly regulated environment. So we follow a lot of different guidelines, and there are a lot of guidelines being put in place now by the regulators, FDA, EMA, Health Canada, and so on. So we can work in a regulated environment. So we use machine learning and NLP. So we screen the world, looking in every language, looking for adverse events related to drugs that people take every day. So going from vitamin A, for example, vitamin D, or to COVID vaccine or CAR T cell therapy, very fancy drugs, we monitor that. And we monitor and we look for possible new risks and things that are already known. So that's what we do. And we are, as you know, in a highly regulated environment, so we need to make sure that we have a human in the loop. So we do these initial screening, for example, but then there's a professional, healthcare professional on the other side, making sure that the information that we're capturing is correct. So we are not going to get rid of people. We are just making sure that people that are doing this job, that would be doing this job manually, is doing the most relevant part of the work, but they are very important. So in HR, I think it's a fear in every industry, and in pharmacovigilance is a fear too, because we are a high volume type of industry looking at data. And what's going to happen to people? Is AI going to take over? And the answer is definitely no. And then people will need to learn and to develop and be able to work with artificial intelligence we call it sometimes as a co-pilot, and supporting in the screening of different things. But it's we are working, for example, in pharmacovigilance, we follow a lot of guidances, and one of them is GMLP, so good machine learning practices, and it's the same regulation for the making new medical devices, for example. So with the new act and everything, nothing is changing for us, because we have been working and developing the technology from day zero, following all the very high standards, and also working on bias and things like that, because we are monitoring data coming from all over the world. So we make sure that our models understand data that is coming from Africa or data that is coming from Asia in the same way that understands data that is coming from the US, for example. But it's exciting times.
Yeah, no, thank you very, very much. Fantastic information. And on that point, what you mentioned, actually, I've asked, I think, 321 people, will AI create more jobs than it displaces? I'm sharing the results now, and they are 61% of people say, yes, it will create more jobs, which is very optimistic. And 39% of people say, no, it will take more jobs. Very interesting. I mean, we don't really know, but we'll see what the future is. So thank you for that, Nicole. And Fergal, you're next. So you are a VP of AI at Intercom, which is an Irish unicorn and customer service solution that combines an AI chatbot, help desk, and proactive support. So question, will AI completely replace manual work, or will a human element always be needed? I ask because I visited your website, and your homepage said your AI will solve 50% of customer inquiries instantly. But I suppose with even the best chatbot in the world, you'll always need a human element. You'll need a human behind the chatbot.
Hi, thanks very much for having me here today. Yeah, it's a tricky question, right? Certainly today we have a given level of technology. Like AI is about as good as GPT-4 is today, right? That's kind of like one of the best in class models that are out there. And we've built customer support products. We've built this chatbot that uses this sort of new technology to try and answer customer questions. And yeah, we've been able to replace humans answering a lot of rote questions, a lot of like questions that's the same thing again and again. And the AI today is good enough to do that. And so like a natural question then is, oh, is the whole customer support industry going to go away? And the programming industry and the startup creation industry, you know, that's on a lot of people's minds, including our own. Like right now, with this given level of technology, no, we see a future where there's going to be this mix of bots and of humans. And you know, one thing that's always interesting to think about is this thing called Jevons paradox, right? It's this idea that sometimes something gets more efficient, you want to do more of it, right? And you know, as a programmer, once upon a time, I remember people worrying about cloud computing and Amazon. It was going to come along, and all these people who used to run databases for a living, that they wouldn't have jobs as programmers anymore. But actually, you know, cloud computing made things cheaper and more efficient, and all businesses were like, oh, we need a lot more programmers because they can add a lot more value. And so we're working in customer service, customer support, and we sort of think, at least at the moment, with the kind of current level of technology, that that's probably more the way things are going to go, right? So, you know, AI is going to enable the customer support rep to be like faster and more efficient, like co-pilots. I think that's a great term. You know, and so we're trying to build tools using AI that make support reps faster and more efficient. And we're also trying to build bots that you can offload the like repetitive stuff to. You know, look, full transparency, right? Like the technology has been, you know, evolving incredibly fast, right? That, you know, leap to GPT 3.5, GPT-4 from 3.5. But they were shocking leaps. Anyone in the space got, typically got a big surprise by how powerful these models were. And so like, we don't know, nobody knows, I think, quite how fast that's going to be. But like, probably a lot of jobs will change and evolve rather than right out disappear. That's certainly our sort of model at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And I'm going to launch another poll here about ethics. But we have our first online speaker. I believe it's Nicolas. Nicolas, if you want to join. Great. Okay.
How are you?
I'm very good. Hello from Dublin. Where are you now?
I'm in Paris. Actually, I'm in the office of Microsoft. I had a meeting with Microsoft just before, so.
Brilliant. And actually, I believe France and Paris is probably the best place in Europe right now for AI. So many things are happening there.
Yeah. We had a lot of very experienced people. We have Mistral AI, who just announced a new funding of $400 million a few days ago. So it's already a unicorn, and we have a lot of talents obviously here. Including at onepoint.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And we will do something in Paris going forward. Well, Nicolas, thank you for joining us. And I guess my question for you is, you are the Chief AI Officer at onepoint, which is quite a large company, 3,000 employees, I believe, in France and across the world. Yeah. Before this, you trained at the Institute, I don't speak French, but you trained at the Institute Multimedias and hold a Stanford certificate in AI. Your previous positions include being head of the culture division of FNAAC Darty, before heading the cabinet of the Secretary of State for Digital.
FNAC Darty in French.
Yes, okay, you do it better than me. So my question for you is, I guess onepoint helps companies with their technological and AI transformation. So in your experience, do you think most companies are aware of and ready for the AI evolution?
Well, we observed a lot of difference of maturity between companies. Obviously, some are more engaged in innovation. Some have stakeholders, regulation that prevent them from going too fast, and they are more cautious. So it really depends on the company and on the sector. But what we observe is that we have probably 40% of our projects with a client that are still on the strategy part, with ideation of use cases, prioritization of use cases, definition of strategy, estimation of return of investment, and so on. So they are still on the strategy part. We have another 40% they implement prototypes or they experiment with out-of-the-shelf tools like the Microsoft Copilot, for instance. So it's another 40%, and we have already 20% of the company that are that did the prototypes with us already, and are now industrializing all the prototypes to integrate them in their information system and integrate them with all the employees and all the customers to develop them at scale. So it really depends on the maturity of the company, but all have started their AI journey.
Great, and I would love one or two stories, if possible, of companies that onepoint and you have worked with, and the process of transforming their technology, AI, and how that happened.
Well, for some companies, we are really already industrializing. So we develop with them what we call AI factories, and in these AI factories, there is a unit to integrate the use case, to evaluate them, to measure the area, to define the KPI that will or the key objectives that will need to be monitored. There are some developing squads that will develop the use case and put them in some machine learning ops or LLM ops, because the operations part is even more difficult and much different from LLMs. the monitoring is a bit different. We implement a design authority to make sure that they respect all the technical architecture rules of the company, and they integrate well, the use case integrate well into the information system of the company. We have a team ensuring that all the compliance is respected in terms of regulation, in terms of ethics, and so on, and that will measure also the environmental impact of the models. So this is really for industrializing AI and generative AI at scale in the company. So we do this with some banks, for instance, in France. For some other companies, we just have trained them. So we have our own school that trains thousands of customers in companies like Orange, or for instance, or M6, RTL, Bertelsmann's group that of course you know. And when we have trained the people, we start to prototype some use case and test the use case with some personas in the company before deciding to deploy them. So it really depends on the stage of maturity, stage of development of the company.
Nicolas, thank you so much. And we will go on to our next speaker in a moment. I just want to share the results of another poll. Do you believe AI will have a positive impact on society? Controversial one here. 60% of people say yes. 7% of people say no. I'm not sure is 33%. So, whoa. And we have to be, I really like that we're being open about this discussion. How concerned are you about the ethical implications of AI? Very concerned, 38%. Somewhat concerned, 52%. Only 10% of people are not concerned at all. And finally, should there be an international regulations and standards for development and use of AI? 81% of people say yes. No, 10% of people say no. So obviously Europe may not be ahead right now in terms of innovation, but we are ahead in terms of regulation. We will go to our next online speaker, which is Gleb. Great, here you are. Gleb, hello, you're very welcome.
Hello.
Great, Gleb,
where are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Where are you right now?
Well, up till a few hours ago, I was in Norway, where I live, and right now I'm in Mountain View. So we are gathering here with the founders, with the team to have a working session. So right now, Mountain View, Silicon Valley.
Brilliant. Okay, very, very cool location. Gleb, it must be very early there, by the way, so thanks for joining. Question for you. I'm from Startup Network Europe. Everybody says I'm a startup, my domain ends with .ai, but what really for you is an AI startup?
You know, it's interesting that this is a very changing moment in AI. Quite soon, I think AI will become a commodity, and we probably will not be able to so much impress anyone by saying this is an AI. This is a technology that probably will be with us everywhere in all the spheres. So probably up till now, to say AI was worked fine to attract investment, but from now on, AI startup is just a normal startup. If it's solving some pain and is offering good solution, it's a great startup. If not, then not. And AI will kind of not in a way help. In particular case with us, with Hints, AI for us was a very smart virtual person that is taking care of your sales process and doing things for you, kind of for you as a sales rep, better than you probably would do. But what I want to say is that now everything we see will have some AI component, and all the startups will be by default probably an AI startup.
Yeah, and absolutely, and it's a thing of necessity, maybe. Can you tell us more about your startup, which is very AI reliant?
Yes, I'd love to. So we are Hints. Hints is an assistant that helps sales representative to build better process around sales and to update CRM better. In very simple words, CRM is a core of each business, and very often it's not the most exciting thing to do to update CRM. And what we did at Hints, and actually today we are launching another version of Hints on Product Hunt, so you can go have a look at Product Hunt. So what Hints is doing, it is together with sales rep, helping a sales rep to update CRM, and it is gently leading a sales representative along the sales process. So it's a very something that takes care of you and says like, hey, you have a meeting tomorrow. Would you like to prepare for that meeting? And okay, if you had a meeting right now, would you like to update your CRM? This is what I have prepared. And kind of it's a little bit pushing a sales representative from step to step. And by that is taking that cognitive load from us, from sales representatives, helping to sell more and to focus more on kind of higher strategic tasks rather than on manual and a little bit boring tasks of updating CRM. And all in all, our clients enjoying the fact that their sales representatives are less busy, bring in more money, and CRMs in bigger companies have more data, pipelines are more accurate, more transparent, the forecasting is great. So, and half a year ago, we would say, and that's because of AI, but right now we probably don't even mention AI per se very much because, yeah, we have a good technology that helps people. In depth of that, yes, there is an AI. Probably in half a year, it will be almost redundant to mention.
Well, Gleb, thank you very much. And we may have a question for the panel. I just want to check if Prag is here. Prag is one of the speakers. Okay, he'll be arriving later, so don't worry about it. I guess then, Gleb, while I have you and if Nicolas is still connected, I would love to ask just a couple of questions on the polls that we did. So I'm going to share again the AI in jobs results. So I'm sharing it now. And Nicolas, if you want to rejoin the webinar. Do you believe AI will create more jobs or displace more jobs? If you guys want to answer that, you're very welcome.
Well, I can take it start if you want. Yeah, in my view, AI will enhance productivity. So obviously, for some tasks, probably you will be faster, and probably you will need less people doing this specific task because they will be enhanced by AI. But I think GenAI will create even more opportunities because for me it's like the revolution of the iPhone or even the personal computer. Now that the general public has tested such a tool than ChatGPT and is accustomed to a conversational interface, they will ask in their companies as employees, they will ask for tools that are conversational for employees, and as customers, they will ask for tools that are conversational at customers. So it means that every digital service of a company, be it internal for the employees or be it external for the customers, they will need to inject some generative AI to become conversational in the future. And so it means that there is a lot of demand coming up for developers, for instance, and for new jobs coming with AI. So I think that the balance obviously will be positive.
Thank you, Nicolas. And Gleb, you have any thoughts?
Yes, it's a fantastic question. We discussed that a lot. So I think it's a bit of a philosophical question. It seems that we humans, we are very good at constantly dropping jobs that are about something manual and boring, and we love to be more creative. So within this big paradigm, I'm thinking that AI will of course create more jobs than it will replace, and it will create more jobs that are about creativity, about something which is more appealing to our internal human desire to build, create stuff. And of course, we will lose all those jobs, and AI will replace all those jobs and tasks that are not that exciting, not that creative. So it will be two concurrent processes. In the end, we will have even more free time, spare time for more creative things, and we will drop all those boring and manual tasks. AI will help.
Brilliant. Well, Gleb and Nicolas, if everybody here wants to give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
And also our other panelists. So thank you very much. And now we have the next part of our event, which is Amy, a presentation. You're very welcome.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, I'm very cognizant that we have 500 attendees remote and a bunch of people in the room, all of you with lovely accents, and I'm going to succumb you to my American accent for the next 20 minutes. But hopefully the content will be so interesting that you guys can, look past it. Amazing. Should I use this mic then?
Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you.
Great. This is totally going to fall if I leave it there. And for the polls, will I run them from here?
Oh, don't worry. I'll do them after. Thanks.
Amazing. Amazing. So hello again, all. Thanks so much for being part of this event today. I'm thrilled to be here as a part of this European AI conference, and even more thrilled to have this session with you today, where I'm really going to focus on not the AI buzzwords, but focus on what you can do with AI to actually help your businesses through helping the humans that interact with your business. So this isn't going to be a session where we drink every time I say chat GPT. We can do that later in networking if you'd like. It won't be that. We're actually going to talk about actionable things that you can do to leverage AI in your business to improve human experiences. So I know Adam introduced me. My name is Amy Roberge, and I do work at Zoom. But my role at Zoom is the global head of contact center solutions engineering. What does that mean? Well, my team's responsible for helping customers of Zoom and potential Zoom customers see the value that Zoom's platform can bring to their customer service experiences, so their contact centers. But my role today, again, is going to be to talk to you guys about how we can go beyond the buzzword and improve employee experiences. So let's get started. So I think when we're talking about humans and improving human experiences, whoa, that's kind of a big concept to start out with. But let's start by rooting ourselves in the world in which all of us live today, the human experience that we're all sharing in. And I think we can all agree that the human experience was irrevocably shifted and changed about 4 years ago, right? We're over talking about COVID, but it did change our world in a big way. It changed the way we connect with our family and friends. We use video calls now. We might use Zoom to call our grandmothers. We would never do that previously. It also changed the way we work, right? It led to the rise of hybrid and remote work, which changed the way offices look, which changed the way our day-to-day lives looked in a big way. It also changed how we consume. Our expectations actually really rose as consumers because we now expect companies that we do business with and engage with to serve us more agilely than ever before. Think about your grocery store. I never want to go to the grocery store again. I expect my groceries to be delivered. That wouldn't have been something that I expected 4 years ago. So customer expectations have never been higher. And what this has done has actually created some challenges that we all need to think about and consider as companies when we're living in this modern world. So let's talk through some of those challenges. So when you look at industry reports and when you talk to people in the industry, talk to employees, talk to consumers, there's 4 big trends and challenges that continuously come up. The first is around productivity. We've heard this word actually thrown out a lot today already. And on average, an employee spends 60% of their time on meaningless or repetitive tasks. Now, for businesses, we want our employees to spend as much time on meaningful tasks as possible. That's the way business gets done. But it's good for the employee as well. Who out here wants to do repetitive tasks all day? No, we want to do things that matter, right? We want to drive the business. We want to add value. That's how we add our value as an employee. That's how we stay engaged with the company. And so we need to find ways to help employees spend more time on tasks that matter. But speaking of employee engagement, so one thing that makes employees feel engaged is working on work that matters. But the other thing that keeps employees engaged is real connection with their companies, with their teammates, with their leaders, and feeling like they're growing in the career, in the job, in the company that they're with. And in this new distributed way of working with remote work and hybrid working, a lot of employees have a harder time connecting with their colleagues, leading to disengagement. And let's talk about the customer side too. So not only are customer expectations higher than ever, and we have to think about serving those customers, but customer loyalty has never been more at risk. Because statistics show that if a customer has 1 or 2 bad experiences with your company or your brand, they'll switch, they'll go elsewhere. They'll take their business away. Customer loyalty is now based on our experiences as a customer. And if you're not delivering great experiences, you're not going to hold on to your customers. And then the final thing, and maybe the hardest thing of all of this, is it all needs to be simple. Employees, they want simple tools. They want simple ways to connect to their colleagues. Customers, it better be simple for me to work with your business. And then finally, IT, right? Poor IT is trying to serve all of us in all of our relevant companies, and they want it to be simple too, so that they can focus on innovative things for your business versus doing just simple setup and maintenance and support of software and technology solutions. So lots of challenges. And you'll notice when I was articulating these challenges, I kind of wove in and out of the world of employee experience and customer experience. This is intentional. I want to talk about all of the humans that are impacting in our business, and employee experiences and CX, customer experiences, are directly connected. So we need to think about them together. I go as far as to say, in fact, customer experience and employee experiences are two pieces of the same puzzle and directly connected. So this is actually the first call to action of today's session, which is when you're thinking about your employee experiences and your customer experiences, don't think about them in a silo. Think about them as two connected entities that heavily influence each other, and better yet, get one platform that can help you solve for both of them for simplicity's sake. And there are a lot of statistics that support the fact that these two areas are directly connected, incredibly related. So in fact, companies that focus on employee engagement, they are 147% more successful than their competitors. On the flip side, if you look at a company that has above average customer experience, 79% of their employees will indicate that they're either highly engaged or moderately engaged. So this means if you deliver a great customer experience, you're going to have employees that are highly engaged. If you engage your employees, you're going to sell more. Your customers are going to be happier. So when you look at these two things in unison and consider them as directly connected, you're going to have more success in your business. Problem is there's challenges on both of these ends of the spectrum with employee experience and customer experience, as I articulated in the first slide. The good news is we are in the world of, I'm in a poll. We're in the world of the AI revolution, and AI can transform both of these areas. There's a massive opportunity to change the game around all human experiences with AI. So let's really quantify that AI opportunity that's out there. Well, according to a McKinsey report, AI could have a $4.4 trillion, trillion with a T, impact on the global economy. Massive, massive impact. Highly quantifiable, I'd say. No wonder there's so much buzz. No wonder we're all sitting in this room today talking about AI. So massive opportunity out there. So now that we've framed that opportunity, let's get a little bit more tactical. What do we do with AI? What are we all doing with AI? So actually, I'd like to start with a poll here. And I hope Adam's going to hook me up for the web portion and the people joining us remotely. But I want to poll the in-person audience as well. So how would you describe the level of engagement that your companies have with generative AI today? So show of hands, if you are using generative AI broadly in your company, raise your hand. Few folks ahead of the curve, very impressive. Okay, if you're experimenting with generative AI, okay, lots of experimenters. If you're doing nothing at all with AI today, no one wants to raise their hand, but I'm sure there's some of you out there, and that's totally fine. And actually, to be honest, that's representative of the entire population of companies. Most companies and people within companies are curious. They're excited about what AI could bring to their company, but they're cautious. They have a lot of questions. Part of this is because it's all very new still. Last year, we were barely talking about ChatGPT. Now our grandmothers, everyone at our dinner table is talking about these things. So amazingly quick evolution of this technology. And it's also big. There's so much that your brain can think about that AI could help with. But how do you focus on what's actually going to move the needle for your business? And then finally, there's new AI, large language models being introduced daily, it feels like. So how do you know what the right tech? Where do you start? So I want to give you a suggestion on the types of AI solutions to look for if you want to start using AI more broadly within your company. So this is actually going to be the second call to action, is to look for AI solutions that are these three things. First, being affordable. It's really hard to justify an ROI for a solution that hasn't proved its worth to your business yet. If you have to go, especially as a startup, and find more money to invest in AI to help the experiences of your employees and your customers, it might be pretty hard to quantify and justify. So look for AI solutions that are affordable, that allow you to experiment and prove that ROI before having to pay a big price tag for those solutions. The second thing you should look for is AI that is accessible. And I mean this in terms of consumability, both for your employees, but also for IT. So you want AI solutions that are just going to work for your employees, so you get a high level of adoption and you get the value out of what you're rolling out for them. And then for IT, obviously, you want to make it really simple for them to roll out so that they can spend time doing other work. And then finally, you want it to be impactful. I know there's so much excitement around AI and it's trendy, it's cool. Everybody wants to talk about the fact that they're using AI. And sometimes we're using it just for the sake of using it. So that's not the thing to do, right? Focus on AI that really has impact for your business. This is really important. Focus on those things. Don't get distracted about what's cool or what you could do. Focus on what matters. And my third call to action here is a suggestion on what actually matters. So when you're thinking about where to use AI, what use cases to use it for within your business, focus on human experiences. Focus on your employee experiences and focus on your customer experiences. And even better, focus on how you can help solve for those challenges that I articulated in the very start of this presentation. How can you maintain high customer satisfaction? How can you increase employee productivity? How can you make employees more engaged? And how can you reduce complexity through AI use cases? And I'm going to give you some ideas on how you can do just these things with AI. So let's start with higher customer satisfaction. So in the world of customer contact center or customer service, there's lots of different ways that we can refer to this industry, but ultimately it's how you engage with your customer base. Chatbots are top of mind, and we all think about self-service and automation and how we can help our customers faster through bot technology. And that's all well and good. And conversational AI has made those chatbots better to engage with and delivered actually pretty good customer satisfaction in those interactions. But we can't forget about what happens when a bot can't solve the problem and you need to escalate to a human. We need to think about that element of customer satisfaction, because if you're only thinking about a bot or automation, you're missing the boat on truly delivering satisfaction for your customers. And we need to think about agents as well, because you can't deliver a great customer experience if your agents or your customer service reps don't have the tools that they need to adequately serve your customers. So a great way of using AI beyond just the world of chatbots is to empower agents with tools that dynamically present information to them based on the conversations that they're having with their customers. So they always know the answer. They always have the right details. They always know what to talk to their customers about while they're serving them. So this is a really great opportunity to use AI to help with customer service experience. And let's talk about productivity. So one, I think, very obvious use of generative AI, but extremely powerful, extremely impactful, let's say, is summarization. And specifically summarization in the world of customer support can go a long way. So for those of you that have ever kind of lived in the contact center space, you may be familiar with the concept of agent notes or customer service rep notes. The idea is that after an agent has interacted with a customer, they capture what happened during that interaction in a note field. What's great about that is when the customer then engages with your company again, No matter who talks to that customer next, they have context of what happened with the customer previously. We talk about this creating a customer journey and a great end-to-end customer experience, regardless of how many touch points a customer has with your company. The problem is creating notes after every interaction is an incredibly manual and painful task for your agents. So most contact centers, they don't do it. They don't ask their agents to create notes. Breaking customer journeys. I know it surprises you, right? You would be shocked at the amount of companies that I talk to about CX that don't do something as simple as agent notes. But with the advent of AI, with a single click of a button, AI can generate that note for the agent, can capture what happened in the customer interaction. And by the way, it's usually more accurate than what would be captured by the agent. So an amazingly powerful use case to both help with agents to do less repetitive tasks, but to also power a better customer service experience. And we're going to continue with summarization just for another minute here because I do love it. I think it's so powerful. It also helps with employee engagement. So what are the best tools when you're working with remote teams or hybrid teams to stay connected? Messaging tools, right? Chat, team chat. That's a great way to engage when everybody's remote. What happens if you're out of the office for a day and you want to jump back in on the next day you're in the office and re-engage with your team when you're working remotely? You're coming into hundreds, thousands of messages that your team has sent back and forth that you then have to catch up on. It's completely overwhelming. And it actually makes you feel less engaged because you're like, oh, I can't possibly catch up on what happened. Well, with summarization, we can, again, with the click of a button, provide a high-level snapshot of all the messages that an employee or a customer service rep may have missed from their team, so they can jump right back into the conversation and engage. And then on the other side, we talked a little bit about employees wanting to have growth opportunities and wanting to engage with their managers as well. Well, in the contact center space, there's tools called quality management that actually help team leaders of customer service reps give their agents coaching and feedback. And with AI, you can make it easier than ever to call out examples for your team leaders of where your agents did a great job, where they need some coaching, to make it a really great experience for your agents and to provide your agents with that growth, even when everybody's working remotely. And then finally, we can't forget about IT. How many people in this room work in IT? Or have? Yeah. Tough job, but massive opportunity to actually help the world of IT with generative AI as well. So the first thing we can do to help IT be more productive and to have better experiences is to keep AI simple and not make complex, monstrous, terrible AI projects that IT then has to manage, and make it just easy. A solution that just works for your users, your employees, your customers. That will make IT's job simpler. But what you can also leverage generative AI for is to help reduce manual tasks, repetitive tasks for IT as well. I'm going to give you a very, very specific example. So has anyone in this room, going back to my chatbot example, has anyone ever built a chatbot workflow? Okay, some of you. And how was that experience? Yeah, it wasn't great, probably. In the world of drag and drop interfaces, things are improving and building workflows is getting a lot simpler. But what if your IT folks could spend less time moving boxes around and spend more time thinking about strategy? Well, with generative AI, there are tools out there that allow you to specify in words what you would like to achieve with a workflow, and then the tool just creates the boxes for you. Magic, almost. But again, takes the manual effort away from your IT folks, reduces complexity for them, and allows them to spend more time on innovation. How can they create better experiences for your employees and your customers? So hopefully that gives you 4 ideas, 4 use cases that you can really apply AI to that's going to impact those human experiences that matter to your business. And I had 3 calls to action in this presentation today, which I'll remind you of. The first was to make sure you're thinking about linking your employee experiences and your customer experiences. Very important to delivering an overall great human experience for both people on all ends of that spectrum. Number 2, use AI to transform both of these spaces, but make sure you're choosing an AI solution that's affordable, accessible, and impactful. And then finally, focus on use cases that matter. Don't get distracted by all the things you could accomplish with AI. Use AI to improve employee experiences, because that's what's going to have an impact on your business. And so with that, if you focus on these three things, we can all create human experiences that have never been better with your company, with the power of AI. So with that, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And so I believe we are going to be having a Zoom breakout. So if you want to understand more about what Zoom is doing in particular in the world of AI and customer experience, we're going to have a breakout session. It is only available online, but if you're interested in joining that kind of remote session, let us know. We'll get you a link. We'll get you involved. For everybody joining us remotely, we'll see you over on that Zoom breakout session here shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. And for the audience online and for the not the panel, the attendees here, I have good news. So Prag, one of our panelists, you've just joined us, which is fantastic. I know it's a very busy day for you. So yes, I will stop sharing. Stop sharing. Great. Okay. And Prag, my questions are, my sheet is gone, but I think my question for you was, could you talk about AI in the finance sector and how it will affect people working in the finance sector, but also startup CEOs in general?
Thanks a million for having me. I'm delighted to be here, and we talk about financial services. Okay, but before we do that, I'll ask you a question. Actually, before I came here, you won't believe what I was doing. I was talking about AI to one of our bigger clients just across the board. And the question always comes up, so when is AI going to be sentient? I was like, I have no idea. So we won't do that. But one fun question, and then we'll jump in. The question is this, and it's more to just gauge how much you guys trust AI. The question is, you're going for an operation, you have a surgeon, she is amazing, 85% success rate in this particular operation. It's a life or death situation for you lads, okay? So 85% success rate, this surgeon is fantastic. You also have a choice of a bot separately. It has looked at all the data of that particular surgeon, but also other surgeons across the board, and it has a 96% success rate for that particular operation. How many of you would go for the bot? All right. How many of you would go for the surgeon? All right. Interesting. Could I ask you why you went for the, why despite the massive odds?
So I think like AI is not yet there. It consists of biases, too many biases. So that's why I feel that human empathy is another thing that a person requires on some level. That's why.
Fine, but the percentage difference is so great. The biases don't really come into it. It's about your life, sir. Forget the biases. If you're dead, there are no biases going on here.
So my dad just had a heart attack like last month, and I just jumped whole data into ChatGPT, and it was able to give those information, but I was not yet sure that should I go with the operation of open heart surgery or not. And that's the reason I went like to the doctor and I confronted, but then he didn't had an open heart surgery and he was able to recover. So AI is not yet there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, thank you very much for that. Yeah, cheers. Fergal. I know Fergal, this hasn't been staged. Fergal, why?
I mean, taking at face value that the percentage difference is so much bigger, the difference between like a 15% and a 4% failure rate. Now, that's assuming someone's properly done their homework on those stats and they're not like BS from the marketing department.
I agree. Thank you. So all I wanted to do with that question was very simple. When it comes to hard decisions, nothing to do with finance, by the way, but when it comes to hard decisions, we are split. We don't believe that AI can support, despite overwhelming numbers to the contrary. We are not ready to commit some of the hardest decisions, some of the more fundamental things in our life to AI. Okay, let's just put that aside. It's interesting always to see how we're split, but I would have gone for the bot I mean, come on, it's my life. That stats a thing. I don't need empathy, but I agree with you. They're not there yet. So this is a futuristic scenario. So just to finish up quickly on financial services, we are very gung-ho. We're bullish on this technology in financial services. The reason we're bullish on this technology is for two reasons. Large financial organizations like Citi or other, we have 240,000 people globally, huge number of people doing lots of things. One of the first things this technology can bring to us today, not tomorrow, not life-saving or anything like that, but it is productivity gains. And what does that mean? It means doing the same stuff more efficiently. And how can we do that more efficiently? Well, we can deploy these technologies at the right process, at the right stage in the process to get the most out of it while being compliant, while ensuring that we meet our regulatory requirements, while mitigating the risks and many other things. But that's not so easy. You need to figure out where exactly to deploy this. And the two use cases there, and you probably already discussed this, one is developer productivity. That makes sense. Our CIO quoted, we have 40,000 developers across the world. That is crazy. Even if we take a small percentage of their time and make them more productive, that is going to have amazing effect. So that's the first thing, developer productivity or productivity more generally, that applies to many of us. The other reason we want to use this in development is because when we go to hire next year, or maybe in 5 years' time, no one is going to be joining our company if we turn around and say we don't use large language models to generate code. It's just not going to happen. So I think we need to get ready for that now. The other thing that all of us spend a lot of time, and many of you who may not be listening to me or board are doing it right now, is searching, information retrieval. All of that, search and retrieval, can be extremely enhanced, improved by using generative AI. A common quote on the internet is 80% of the data is unstructured. If that's the case, that unstructured data has suddenly come into the fold of computers to analyze well. 6 months ago, that was not possible, especially to do with text. 6 months ago, you were unable to analyze data, to summarize data, to translate documents, to compare two documents, to extract facts from two documents or one document to the level of fidelity you can do now. And that is a wow factor we should all wake up to. Finally, my last point, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Lots and lots of issues with this technology as it exists. You can't go and deploy it tomorrow. Make sure you understand the risks of it. Instead of knowing what it can do, focus on what it cannot do. Because once you focus on that, you will realize the limitations of it. And it is with those limitations that you will find the best use cases for that technology, for your organization, and more importantly, for yourselves as individuals to make it more productive. I'll leave it at that, and I'll be around after if anybody wants to discuss their answer to the bot problem later.
Thank you. Fantastic. And for our online attendees, which is still over 400 people, I believe we are about to begin our breakout room. We do have a breakout room with Zoom, which I hope my co-host can just open up now. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, we'll be setting up the breakout room in just a moment. Okay, my colleague Henry is taking care of it. Well, in the meantime, everybody, thank you so much for attending online and in person. Yeah, let's do this. We have more events coming up next year. As I mentioned, the European AI Conference 2024 will happen in Google European headquarters, I believe on May 16th. Our dream is to have 220 AI startups and 100 AI investors. And also in IBM London, we'll be doing the London AI Conference and many, many more events. So thank you everyone for coming. Thanks.